Welcome to Notable Approvals. I am attorney Amanda Shaffer. Before we get to our case today, a quick few announcements. First, don't forget to like us and follow us on Facebook and YouTube and Instagram and anywhere else where you get your news from us or our videos so that you don't miss any other of our lives. Second, if you find this video to be helpful to you or know of someone who might find it helpful, please feel free to share it. And finally, next week, October 6th, Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, we will be having episode 14 of Are You Smarter Than a Naturalized Citizen? If you tuned in to episode 13, it was interrupted by Tropical Storm Ida, who washed out one of our contestants. So we're going to give the other contestant another shot at glory at victory next Wednesday against a new opponent, since unfortunately attorney Momita is still dealing with some of the fallout from the tropical storm. So of course we wish her and her family our best, and we hope that they're able to get everything back to normal as soon as possible. With that all in mind, let's get to our case today. So today is about a client. The case is about a client who is a native and citizen of Ukraine. She had her 10-year green card or her permanent resident card approved. So that's the form I-751. She filed it jointly with her wife. In this case, there's a couple of interesting things about it that I want to point out. The first thing is that this client was previously married to a male. She divorced him in 2015 and married her wife in 2016. I've actually received a number of inquiries from people who have followed a similar path, that they're worried their second time around that it wouldn't get approved, the marriage petition wouldn't get approved because USCIS would see that they are married to someone of a different sex before. And I would say that can definitely raise suspicion, but it by no means bars you from eligibility, and by no means that either of your marriages are fake. We weren't her attorneys when she was previously married. I don't know if the other, her former husband filed for her. I actually think I know he's from Mexico. I don't remember if he naturalized or not. So I don't even know if he had his citizenship. Point is, that shouldn't dissuade you, that fact alone, from filing if you're now married to one sex and previously married to another, as long as the relationship is real. That's the most important thing. So this couple came to us after they already had the 2-year green card. So they've already proved to USCIS at least one time that they had a real marriage, and now they filed the I-751 2 years later together. So they're still a happily married couple, to remove the conditions. So that was the first issue I want to talk about. The second thing I want to talk about was this case was filed May, I think, or April 2019. So we're like 2.5 years later. And the last notable approval that I did, you could check it out on in our social media pages. The last one I did about an I-751, I think I bragged about that there was no interview, or it was done in 6 months, or it was pretty fast and no interview. And now I get to this one where it was bending over 2.5 years and there was an interview. They did great at the interview. It was decided, it was approved basically right away after the interview. And it's interesting to compare some of the cases and to see, well, is it just a random selection sometimes for the interviews? I think so. And like, why did it take them so much longer? I don't have answers for why things take so much longer. It could be something as simple as you're from a country where it's harder for them to obtain security clearances or checks or whatever they call it. It could be that they were actually doing an investigation, a fraud investigation. I don't really know. What I always do is I try to submit all of the packages for clients for applications the same way, with the same amount of hard work. pushing clients to get me as much evidence as possible to give everybody the same chance of having their case decided as quickly and as easily as possible. And that's really all I can do. So in this case, it was 2017 that she got her 2-year conditional green card. We filed the I-751 in 2019 like we were supposed to. And we did submit a lot of marriage evidence. We had a joint lease, a joint tax return. We had like 2 months of a joint checking account, a month or 2 of joint credit card account. We had a joint cable bill, a joint gas bill, a joint electric bill, a joint dog license registration, 3 affidavits, and photographs of the couple during the 2-year period between when they got the green card and when we filed. That's a lot of evidence. Most people do not have that many different types of joint documents. So again, this is a case that you might look at and say, well, then why were they interviewed? Again, I want to reiterate that it may very well be the case that they were picked at random. And whenever you are waiting for an interview, it's going to take longer to get a decision on your application. It may have been because although they had a lot of different documents and I told them to give me many months spanning that 2-year period, I only had 1 or 2 months for most of these things. And although the checking account was definitely, used a decent amount, same with the credit card, that alone, having 1 or 2 months isn't always going to satisfy them. Now, why did they not send a request for evidence instead of asking for interview? Again, I don't know. I don't know how that decision is made. But what I do know is that there are a few factors in this case that make sense to me on why it wasn't decided as quickly as some of the others and why they had to be called in for an interview. So yes, because the client was previously married to a male and now her green card's based on marriage to a female, USCIS, they're going to be questioning that. Right or wrong, they're going to be questioning that. The second thing, again, is although there was a lot of different types of evidence, we didn't have many months. Now, you don't need to put in every single month for the past 2 years for each bill. I tell clients, every few months, because you want to show that you didn't just pay your bill or use open a bank account for a month and then close it. You didn't just pay the cable bill for 1 month and then neglect it the rest of the time because you don't really live there, or change the name back to somebody else, things like that. That's what they want to see. So I did push this client as well to give me more, but this is what she gave me. And there was a lot of stuff. So I said, okay, you can always bring additional evidence to interview if there is one, which is, of course, what they did. And then there was one more thing about this one. I can't remember what the last thing is that was interesting. Was there only 2 things? I don't know. I've had a long week. But yeah, I mean, it was the evidence to me more so than anything else. I don't think it was solely because they were same-sex couple. I don't at all. I've had same-sex couples approved without interviews. I think it was, I think this might have even been one of the last couple of notable approvals I did, where I talked about how a past relationship that ended right before the new marriage, or like the divorce ends a few months later, you're married to somebody new, especially if the first marriage is on the short end, that always raises red flags for USCIS. Again, it doesn't mean that you don't have a real marriage. It just means that that's on their list of factors that it's more likely that there could be fraud. So it may not have cared who she was married to before. It may have simply been the fact that she was married. So there's that fact. And then again, the evidence, great evidence, lots of it, lots of different types, but not a lot of different months. So you don't want to just give your joint bank account like 24 months and nothing else, but you also don't want to give only 1 month, because what about all the other months? That's what they're looking for. At the very least, spread them out, throughout the years. So yeah, and then this client actually got a little anxious waiting for her 10-year green card, understandably. And she wanted to file for naturalization last year. I took a look, we filled everything out. I think we ended up waiting because there's always that question when your I-751 is pending. Do I file for naturalization or do I wait? that's a discussion we can get into another day, and I'm happy to if you're in that situation right now. But essentially, it was approved, and she is already. She was last year eligible for citizenship. We just had to wait for this to be approved. So as soon as she wants to, we're going to file that, and we don't expect her to have any issues obtaining her citizenship as well. So that is all today for notable approvals. Don't forget to like us, follow us on the social media, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, all of that. Share this video if you know somebody who it might help, or if you found it helpful. And tune in next week, Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, which is 6 p.m. Pacific Time. We're having episode 14 of Are You Smarter Than a Naturalized Citizen? See who will walk away as episode 14 champion. Thank you all for watching, and have a great day.